This is my first time. This is going to be my first time starting up the truck this spring. I don't usually run it in the winter, but hopefully it's warm enough out now that it'll start up. So I undid the latches, opening up the hood. Down, you can kind of see the dipstick right there. So the first thing I'm going to do is check the oil. Now, it has been holding oil very well, but you always want to make sure. Whoops, there we go. So the dipstick, it doesn't just pull out, it unscrews first because it's all waterproof in theory. And you take it out. The oil appears to be a good consistency, and we'll just check the level again to be sure. Check it with the threads. It doesn't need to be screwed on all the way, but just with the threads loose. It appears to be a bit low. I'm not gonna add oil to it right now. The reason being is that if I can start it up and move it, I'm gonna change the engine oil. Because I've owned this for 3 years now, and I haven't changed the oil yet. So I'm going to change the oil. I've got a new filter. Although I might not need to replace the filter because the oil looks good, but I'll see what it looks like after that. There's a fuel pump right here that you can try and prime. There we go. You can hear it now. Unfortunately, you can't see the fuel in the last bowl, but it... Ooh, yeah, that sounds like it's primed. So prime the fuel system. I'm gonna close the hood. Now, if this thing were stored inside, I probably wouldn't keep these latched all the time because that can make them wear out. There's just a little spring in there that can wear out. So, I've checked the oil, I've checked the belts, the air intake. I've got the batteries in. I'm going to try and start it up without starting fluid, and we'll see if that does the job. But if it doesn't, we have plan B right here. The starting fluid is kind of a pain because you have to take off the hose between the air filter and the carburetor. Have to take off that hose, which is a pain. I was struggling with that earlier to check to make sure that there wasn't anything, any gunk inside there or wasp nests or anything. But you have to take that off to spray in the starting fluid, then you have to start it, and then once it's running you have to put that back in so that you can drive. Well, it's gonna get loud. That's just the low air pressure warning, letting me know that I can't drive because I have no brakes. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that it is in neutral. Second thing, make sure that the truck is actually staying put. I do have the parking brake down here on. Okay. Now, I'm going to take the choke out. I'm going to take the throttle out quite a bit because it's going to need it. Okay. And here we go. The one downside to the air buzzer is that I can't really hear what the truck is doing. So it's hard to tell if it's lugging or if it's stalled. It's stalled again. It's really hard for me to tell if I need more choke or less choke because the only thing I can really hear is the air buzzer. I can tell it's running because it's shaking, and I can sometimes hear it like stop because it starts to shake a little more, but temp is still low. Air pressure is up enough where we can drive. The oil pressure is kind of high. That's because it's running straight 30, not 5W30 or 10W30, it's straight 30. So it takes a while for that oil to warm up and perfuse through the system. So we're gonna stay here idling, and you can hear it kind of lugging. Let's see what the choke does. Not working, definitely doesn't need choke. So while I'm still waiting for this thing to warm up and the oil pressure to drop, I thought I'd do a little walk around, see how everything looks. Looks a little bluish, but it's mostly white, which is what we would expect for white smoke on a cold start on a cold day, which, I mean, for this thing, it's cold. Like I said, it's 43 degrees out right now, and when I tried starting it at these temperatures before, it didn't want to start. Really had a hard time. But so we got some smoke. There might be some oil in there, but it seems mostly white to me. Looking at it off camera. Okay. We've got. Boy, it's easier to see under here once you take the spare tire off. So those are our tanks, air tanks. I don't see any air leaking from them. That's a transfer case right there. Engine up there, transmission. You can see there is no front drive shaft, so this is not six-wheel drive, at least not right now. It was from the factory, but I assume the drive shaft was taken out because it gives it better handling and fuel economy when you're going on pavement. Unlike the A1 and A2 series, these were full-time 6-wheel drive. They did not have a locker on them. So yeah, this is an old one. It's a 1952 REO, that's REO, M35. It's powered by an inline 6 gasoline engine. So this is before the multi-fuel engines that a lot of people are familiar with. Before the multi-fuel engines. Still waiting for that oil pressure to drop, kinda. Okay. It's sounding a lot better. That's a good sign. And it didn't stall while we were outside. Okay, so you're up in the cab with me. I'm going to attempt not to hit that car in front of us. Sounds like we have some brakes. Okay. Just testing the brakes. They seem a little softer than usual, but we are still at a fairly low air pressure. I don't know what that's about. Hopefully it'll straighten itself out. I'm not going to drive it a ton right now. I'm just going to maybe take a couple laps, see if that oil pressure does anything weird. And then we're going to park it up to the house so that we can get the spare tire on and whatever maintenance I'm doing to this. Come on. Nope. Second gear is a little funky. I'm gonna have to turn the camera off because the way this tripod is set up, I can't shift.